This is the exact formula that we use to land five-figure clients. I'm going to give you the formula. It's really easy to remember because it spells out ACES, A-C-E-S. So I'm going to give you the formula. Then we're going to go through a step-by-step example of how the whole thing works. And as an umbrella over all of it, it's a great way to package your services as a web designer where you're building websites, maybe sending some emails, building some landing pages, stuff like that, into a really compelling high-ticket offer. And you probably don't even have to learn that many new extra skills, if any at all. For example, email marketing is going to be a big part of this. And email, like everyone knows how to jump into MailerLite or MailChimp and send emails. And the cool thing about us as web designers sending emails is you have the ability to say, hey, every time you click a call to action in the email, sends you to the website, and you have control over the whole site to build landing pages and stuff for that. Okay, so in the context of you and me being web designers, how can we use the 4 ACES formula to land like $10,000 and up projects? So the A stands for attract. This is all about traffic. Where's the traffic going to come from? We need to know who we're trying to reach, what our offer is, how we're going to communicate that. It could be paid or it could be organic. So a lot of times the knee-jerk reaction is, oh, okay, well, we'll run Facebook ads or Google ads and we'll just kind of pay for the traffic. And that works. There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't have to be paid. When we get into the example, I'll give you a bunch of different other kind of more organic ideas for how to drive leads without buying ads. But the point is, you got to drive traffic, because if you're not driving traffic, you're not getting leads. And a lot of people will start more kind of in the middle of the funnel where they're saying, well, here's how we're capturing the leads and all this other stuff. But they skip the part about driving traffic. And then the client's going to be like, okay, well, that sounds great, but where's the traffic coming from? So you got to start with the traffic, and A stands for attract the traffic. The C is capture. So we don't want to just throw traffic at a website and just hope people just kind of click on the contact page or something like that. We want to have a landing page that captures the contact information of the traffic. So we're basically converting the traffic into leads by capturing an email address with some kind of an opt-in. The opt-in will probably come in one of 3 flavors. The first one would be like an educational opt-in, could be an informational opt-in, or it could be a financial opt-in. Education would be like, say you're working with a tax accountant or a CPA, it would be like how do business owners who make over $80,000 a year save thousands on taxes? So that would be like learning how to save thousands on taxes as a business owner. So that's educational. Informational would be like, say you're working with a nutritionist, like here's my top 10 favorite gluten-free dessert recipes. So now you're kind of getting information about dessert recipes. Financial would be like a coupon or a gift, like 10% off your order, or sign up now and get this free thing. But whether it's educational, informational, or financial, the whole point is you're collecting an email address in exchange for something cool, and now you're building a list. So that takes care of capture. Then we go to E, which is educate. Or if it's not an educational type of product, it would stand for excite. And this is the idea that you're nurturing the leads over time. So for people who are interested, but they're not quite ready to book a call or buy a product yet, you've got this educational process, this lead nurturing process going on. And that's the E. And then S, the final point, is all of this is building up to a sale. And that would mean like a booked call, scheduled a demo, or if it's an e-commerce thing, then they bought something online, right? The e-commerce transaction itself. So that's the 4 ACES formula, ACES. It stands for attract, capture, educate, and sale. So if this is making some sense and you're liking it, go ahead and thump the thumb for me, because that'll help people discover the video. So now let's do a full-blown example. Let's say you're working with a tax accountant or a CPA. How do you apply the ACES formula to a project like that? Well, the attract is, how do you get in front of small business owners who are looking to save money on taxes? Because the CPA probably wants to work with business owners rather than just do personal taxes for people, right? Most of the business owners, or most of the tax accountants that I know, they don't want to do just like, $50 tax filings like you could get at H&R Block or something. They want to do quarterly tax estimates and personal filings and business filings and all of this stuff, because that would be a much higher ticket type of a client for them. And so how do you then get in front of business owners? Well, you could run ads and get in front of them that way, and that tends to be kind of the default option. But there's tons of ways to get in front of clients without buying ads. For example, what if you help your accountant become a guest on podcasts for self-employed people? For example, Unemployable, The Self-Employed Life, Unconventionally Employed. Those are all like podcasts for the self-employed entrepreneurial community filled with small business owners that would love to be able to save money on their taxes. So what if you could just reach out to some of those podcasts and say, hey, can I be a guest on your podcast? And that would be a free way to start generating leads. If it's recorded, it's now evergreen content, sending in leads over time too, which is really great. You could build backlinks. You could do guest blogging. You could answer questions on like LinkedIn or Quora, or even join Facebook groups and answer questions there. Those are all free ways to kind of build your authority in the space. Or even social media, like joining Clubhouse. Have you ever used Clubhouse? That's kind of a new-ish social media platform that we've really been having a lot more success with compared to like just organic Facebook posts, because Facebook doesn't really distribute the posts anymore unless you pay for it. But if you go into Clubhouse is a situation where there's like these rooms. It's sort of kind of like an audio version of Twitter. There's like a stage with a couple of panelists that are kind of running the room, and they have the ability both to listen and to speak. And then everybody else is in the audience with listen-only capabilities. But almost all the time, the panelists will open up for questions, and you can raise your hand. They'll invite you up on stage. And if you're smart about it, and like you're not trying to just hijack the room and give some kind of big sales pitch kind of speech or something, but you actually listen to the conversation and ask intelligent questions, people will really appreciate that and will, want you to be on their stage more. Maybe you'll even become one of the panelists. And you build this whole community around your expertise, and people start following you on the platform. And we've gotten clients directly from doing just that. And it's totally free. So there's definitely free ways to drive leads for basically anyone. And that's the attract. And you got to put a lot of attention on that, because if without that part, the whole thing unwinds and doesn't really work. So that's a great way to attract leads, whether it's free or paid. Then you get into capture, and that's where it'd be like, okay, put your email address in here and check out this webinar. I'll show you how business owners who make over $80,000 a year are saving thousands on taxes, and then you kind of learn how that works. Or it could be an email lead nurturing sequence. Like maybe you put your email in, watch that webinar. Then if you don't book the call immediately after the webinar, you go into the E for educate, and you continue to send emails about time saving and tax saving tips for 2022. The things that are really interesting, tips, tools, strategies, things that are interesting to self-employed people. So now you're educating, and then through those emails, you say, hey, why don't you book a call with me? And so that way, people who are interested, but they're not quite ready to sign up for a call yet, they can get warmed up and you don't lose track of them. That's the whole point of the education part. And then you have the S, which is the sale, which is you get your online calendar out there, book a call, schedule a time to talk, that kind of a thing. And that's the ACEs approach to working with a tax accountant. Now, if this is making sense and you like the idea, but maybe it's kind of hard to figure out, well, who's the audience and how do I track them and what's the offer, all of that kind of stuff, take a look at this next video. I'll show you how to build what we call a solution-first agency. It's really the opposite of what everyone else is doing in traditional web agencies, which are really all solution-last systems. So if you want to see how that works, check out this next video. I'll show you how to build a solution-first agency.